Okay, we're back on the Visual Basic, and I'm going to show you some other ways to transfer the variable from text box input to text box output. In this case, we're going to do it by creating a new sub and then uh, using that sub to move the inputs from the text box input dot text property into the text box dot text output property. It isn't as complicated as it sounds. Let's go ahead and create our new sub. We're going to say private sub, and we're going to call it move text. How's that sound? Okay, and we're going to say enter. Okay, so there we have our new sub. Now this is what's called a subroutine. This is a private sub, and it's using the click property of button execute to execute our code for us. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, when that button is pushed, we're going to go ahead and tell it to come to this subroutine and execute what's in this subroutine. How do we do that? Okay, the first thing we do is we use a call, and then we're going to put the name of this subroutine in there, and that's move text. Move text, and there we go. Now, inside this move text, we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're going to say text box out put property dot text, and it's going to equal what is in text box input dot text property. Okay, now something new I'm going to do is we're going to trace this code, and we're going to walk this code on through. Okay, so what will happen when we execute this, the code will start to execute, and when it reaches this stop, it's going to stop it there, and we're going to manually execute this one step at a time so you can see what happens. Okay, so at this point, let's go ahead and do a start. Okay, let's go ahead and put some text in there. Let's execute, and there we go. We stopped right there. Now you can find your shortcut keys by running your mouse over the top of the commands up here on the top line. Okay, we're going to step into this, which means that we're going to keep on stepping through this one command at a time by using the F11 key. Okay, now we have move text, text box output dot text equals text box input dot text. What does text box input have in it? Brad. But as you notice, this text box does not have anything in it yet. Now watch what happens when we go ahead and advance to the next place. Now we're going to go look. Our text box output text equals Brad. Okay, we're going to keep on stepping through. Now it should come back up. There we are. Our text box output equals Brad. Okay, so now let's close that up. Now we're even going to do a little bit more with this. We're going to do what they call passing a variable. what we're going to do is in this private sub that we created, we're going to create a new variable. We're going to call it T for text, actually let's call it S for string text. Okay, that's our new variable. Okay, now we're going to come back up here and actually we're going to, I think, create another variable here. We're going to call this variable. When you create a variable, of course, you have to use the dim. And we're going to call it string input as a string. Enter. Okay, now we're going to put something into that input. We're going to say S input equals TB input dot text. So what we've done now, let me move this up, get rid of this one. Okay, so what we've done is we've said, okay, we're going to put whatever's in this input box or text box input into this particular variable. Now here under move text, we're going to put that variable in there. S input okay, and we're going to save this. Now we're going to go execute this and do this. We could have put this tb input.text into this call, but really I don't normally do that. Normally if I've got a text box or something like that, I will put that information into another variable before I use it in my program. So let's go see what happens when we run this. Let's do a start. There we go. There's our training form. Let's go ahead and do a Brad. Whoops. And let's execute. Okay, we've now stopped there. S input up there equals nothing. S input still equals nothing. But TB input dot text equals Brad. Let's do F11 again. Yes. Now our S input equals Brad. Now we're going to call this sub. S text equals Brad. Oh, we didn't change the input yet there. Okay. Fine. We're going to go ahead and finish this off and stop it. We don't want to execute again. We can stop from right here, stop debugging. And what I meant to do was come back here and put S text here. Okay, now let's try that again. Let's do a start. Put my name in again. Okay, let's go ahead and execute our code. There we go. We're going to do an F. Okay, F11. Now that S input is Brad. S text here is Brad. Text box output dot text. Now we're going to end the sub, and we should have that now in our text output. Okay. So now here, let's go ahead and clear our input box. Again, to clear our input box, or no, actually, let's put it back up here after we've already populated everything and moved it over to our text output. We're going to say TB input dot text equals parentheses, double parentheses. And actually, why don't we put the word done in here? Okay. Now let's save it and let's start it. Here we go again. Our input is going to be Brad. We're going to execute F11. Okay, here we go. We're going to move it. Now we're into our output. That one's finished, so it always comes back to where it's called from. Now we're going to put the done into our text box, input text, and sub. Here we go. Brad, and we are done. Okay, I think that's going to about end it for lesson number 2. Thanks for listening.